Well, hello, friends, neighbors. John, your whiskey neighbor here. Welcome down the Nook. It's Sunday, so we're going to shoot a Sunday sample, but it's going to be a little bit different and we'll actually include a review. So first, thank you, Andy, who gave me this sample of Old Pulteney 12. And I haven't had Old Pulteney 12 on the shelf for years. And I just poured it and haven't even tried it. So we'll talk Old Pulteney 12, single malt Scotch. And then I did have a bottle and actually fairly recently opened this Huddart from Old Pulteney. So this will kind of be a sample tasting and hopefully recalling some good thoughts. And then I'll share a little bit about this, the Old Pulteney Huddart, when you come back. So if you've got any single malt that's maybe aged on the edge of the sea, why don't you pour a bit? Come on back. 3, 4. Well, thanks for staying with me. As I said in the opener, this is a sample from Andy, so I felt, it belongs in a Sunday, but I felt it was really good to sort of compare Old Pulteney 12 with Old Pulteney Huddart. So in my area, Old Pulteney 12 single malt, and I don't have a bottle review for you, or view for you, but is really affordable. It still is one of the single malts that is always under $50 Canadian. And it's 40%, and I imagine it's colored and chill filtered, but it kind of holds a place in my heart. I've always enjoyed it, but I haven't had it in a number of years. So, Old Pulteney 12, let's just do nose and taste. Hopefully you got some. It's sweet, it's floral. I'm getting quite a bit of lemon zest on it, quite a bit of not just that. Some nice fresh lemon. They spend a lot of time talking about how aged on the sea, maritime malt. And they put a lot of brine language into any of their promotional stuff. So I often think that, but I will say on the nose, I think if you poured this to me blind, I'm just going to get some nice fresh vanilla, quite a bit of lemon zest for me. Beyond that, not much. Let's try it on the palate. Sláinte. It's a tasty Scotch. For 40%, surprisingly coating. I won't go so far as to say oily, but it feels nice. I like it. That lemon is still present. Now I've got a little bit of light spicing going on. And it's in the palate, early finish, or part of the building finish when you sip it. Maybe I'll try a second sip, but where I'm going is, I think that's where you get some of that maritime brine. It can build too. I remember years ago when I was reviewing it, I'm like, well, I don't get that much brine. And then the more you have it in the night, the more I can get a little bit of that characteristic salty note. Let's try it again. It's still fresh. It's got some nice sugars in it, some nice honey, maybe some honey and vanilla and citrus, a little bit of spice and a little bit of brine. Especially as you drink it, more of that brine shows up and it earns its name, the maritime malt. This is a good dram. And what I would suggest is if you're brand new to Scotch, I tend to say, look for those nice Highlands or Space sides. They're fairly light, approachable, and full of fruit. This is very much in that character, but with that briny, that little bit of salty, briny note, it takes it to just one little interesting note. And I would hope it would be pretty early in your journey too to see if you like it. And it's affordable, at least in my market. I definitely like Old Pulteney 12, and I know it's a sample, so I shouldn't give it a rating. It really only sits at about 3.5, but it's a lovely 3.5 for me. So comparing it to Old Pulteney Huddart, what's interesting about Huddart is it is their essential distillate, their single malt, but it's been aged in ex-bourbon and then finished in ex-peated casks. It's released at a healthier 46%, which I can appreciate. However, and it's definitely darker in color. However, where I was going is nowhere on here does it say unchill filtered or natural color. And I really want it to be because it's a nice presentation. It comes out at 46 and you pay more for it for sure than the 12-year-old. But let's see what its nose and palate is like anyways. Certainly already I get a bit of smoke, a bit of earth, a bit of peat. It overwhelms the citrus nature. This is still brighter and keeps bringing me that almost floral citrus. Whereas this is now faded into some smoke and some peat. There's some sweetness going on, like there's that floral vanilla a little bit. I got almost an edge of chocolate on that. Oh, let's try it on the palate. Sláinte. It's a richer dram. I could believe it was non-chill filtered, and the fact that this already has some nice coating nature and this really brings it up. Definitely feels a little bit chewy, which I appreciate. The peat also gives it that impression, so now we've got some of that bogginess. It's not really medicinal for me, but more campfire, bonfire. Some of that salt brine really fits with that more, so maybe I get it more. Like, I definitely feel this has a brinier nature to it. Could be from the peat. Finish is longer because of those notes. I tend to find peated scotches to just really stick around and stay in the conversation. Well, the nose was giving me some smoke. Now the palate really folds into more brine and smolder. Let's try another sip. I might be getting a little bit of orange citrus in that now. But it's really been smoked or cooked down. It's more in that subtled. Fruits for me are maybe even dried, some tobaccos, that type of thing. So really the peat has had a significant effect for my palate on their essential distillate. Where this is light floral, citrus, and a little bit of interesting salt. This is far more earthy, briny, salty. There's a little more pepper, a little more heat because it's 46. Also, it's a non-age stamp, so it could be younger. It really could. In fact, I would expect it to be younger, or they'd probably put an age stamp on it. You pay more for Huddart. I think it's a better whiskey as long as you like peated scotches. If you don't like peated scotches, you'll already pick up a bit of coastal maritime in the 12, and here you'll definitely really feel it. So for my palate and what I like, this is like 3 3/4. It's a better dram. And I'm happy I have it. I got it on a killer sale, so I'm happy I got that as well. I'll need to spend more time with it to see if it's going to get into rotation, but the old Pulteney 12, just because it's so affordable, no doubt in a few years, I'm sure it'll be back on my shelf. I'll see it on sale and I'll think, oh, I like that refreshing salty dram. Thanks for joining me here this Sunday. Thanks again, Andy, for the sample. And it made this comparison more meaningful to me because I didn't have a 12 and I wasn't quite ready to buy a whole bottle. Thanks for joining me. You guys have just a great week coming up.